Thank you so much for having me. So we're just going to talk a little bit today about the road to aesthetic nursing, what it takes to get there, what it takes to stay there, the things that are involved, what you can expect for schedule versus, and pay, kind of a day in the life kind of thing. So a little bit about me. Sorry, I'm trying to just scroll through my, oh, okay. I've been a nurse since 2001. I graduated in 2001 with my associate's degree, worked in the hospital for a very long time, about 15 years. Went back for my bachelor's degree while I was doing that, and I'm currently in nurse practitioner school. Expected date of graduation is 2024. I have a variety of settings in my background. I did telemetry on the floor. I did critical care float pool. I did emergency department. I started to move away from hospital and doing more of like an outpatient short term with surgical services. Started working with some plastic surgeons at that time. And then I left that altogether, went into private practice with a plastic surgeon, worked there as his surgical nurse, learned a lot about aesthetics there, and was offered this apprenticeship where I am now to be trained, learn, and have a job when I was finished. So I was extremely lucky in that aspect. So today's agenda is, what is an aesthetic nurse? What do they do? Who do injectors work for? What types of education and training is required? Primary steps to becoming an aesthetic nurse, the benefits of becoming an aesthetic nurse, salary and job outlook, some courses and opportunities that we offer at my place of employment, and then we'll have some time at the end for some questions. So what's an aesthetic nurse? So nurses who work alongside physicians under the guidance of a physician to provide aesthetic and cosmetic treatments to their patients. It's different nurses do different skills. I personally just do injectables, but there are some who do skincare, lasers, chemical peels, those types of things. I mainly just injectables. It's really great to have an aesthetic eye for this type of job because you have to know about facial proportions and what would look good and versus, what would make them not look that great if you did what they wanted. So you have to be able to educate patients with your knowledge and your background and your aesthetic eye on what would be the best for their faces. And then even if you're not doing skincare, like as your day-to-day job, it's really important to know characteristics of skin and ways to treat skin, because it really does go hand in hand with injectable treatments and making them last longer and getting the best results from them. So who do nurse injectors work for? Nurse injectors can work in plastic surgeons' offices. They can work in medical spas. They can work for themselves, have their own med spas that they can own, but there's a lot of state laws that you have to be in compliance with. So everybody usually starts in medical spas or with plastic surgeons. That way you have some guidance, you have, some support, and that's really important, especially when you're first starting out. So what type of education and training is required? Well, an active nursing or medical license. So you have to be an RN at least, NP, MD, DO, PA, all of those. Dentists even can inject. It's great to take an introductory course to become familiar with toxins and fillers and different types of treatments that we do, why we do them, who are good candidates. It's really great to learn all that with a good foundational course. And then finding somebody who you can shadow or observe a few times just to get a feel for what a day in the life looks like. That way, you can learn all there is to know about procedures, but until you're actually watching somebody do it and being able to visualize what is happening, they kind of go hand in hand. And then as with nursing, aesthetic nursing is continuously ongoing education, conferences, trainings throughout the year. Like even if you are proficient in one type of area, if you're invited to a training, it's really great to see how other people do it because you pick up different things that way. So all this continuing education is really key. Always learning, things are always changing. And the primary steps to becoming an aesthetic nurse. Everybody has gotten here in a different way. And there's been different paths for everybody. Like I said, take a course, shadow somebody. This industry, places are opening up very frequently, lots of new places, and people are willing to train new injectors nowadays. So if you find a position that is willing to hire new to practice or willing to train, that's really great. You will have to spend some money on your continuing education, subscriptions to like a Patreon kind of thing where, expert injectors share all of their knowledge and their tips with you. That's a great reference, especially in my day to day. I've been doing this almost 4 years, and I'm always referencing things like, how do they do it? Or, what could be a different thing like that. So, and you do spend money to have these types of things at your disposal. And then just stay up to date with your trainings, just so you know what the current literature is out there, the current best practices. Like I said, it's always changing. We're doing things differently now than they did 5 years ago, and things will ever be evolving as we go forward. These are some befores and afters of different things that you can expect to be doing. We have some lips, and we have a full face rejuvenation, liquid facelift. And then the benefits of becoming an aesthetic nurse. It's more, as you know, if you work in a hospital, you're treating sick patients. In this industry, it's more of a wellness approach. People seek you out to get these treatments that they desire to improve their appearance. It could be something as little as, I hate how my gums show when I smile, and it's a quick, easy procedure that we can do to help them, and it makes a world of difference. So that is very rewarding. People who are like, oh my gosh, I just feel like I look so tired and run down, and you can rejuvenate them and they're just over the moon happy with that. That is very rewarding. So that is a definite benefit of becoming an aesthetic nurse. There's no long hours like there are in the hospital. You don't have to work overnights. You do usually have to do some weekends, depending on where you work. It's very flexible. Depending on where you work or who you work for, they're very accommodating. If I need to take off or whatever, it's, they accommodate that, because everybody has some family life, some outside stuff, and it's a work-life balance. You do have some autonomy in these medical spas. There are medical directors who oversee, but when you're trained and you're treating people every day, you're deciding that this is what patients need, as long as it falls under the scope of your practice and what is prescribable by the medical director. Then you have the autonomy to say, yes, this is how many we're going to do, this is how much we're going to do, and this is where we're going to do it, and these are the results you're going to get. So you do have a lot of responsibility in that way, but it's a lot of your own decision making. You do make a lot of people happy, because like I said before, there could be something that really just bothered them for the longest time, and you can do one little thing or, a whole treatment plan for them. And it changes the way they feel about themselves and the way they present themselves in the world. So it's very rewarding. And then of course, access to anti-aging treatments, because, that's what we do. So of course we want to practice that too. So we get to try everything and do all the treatments, so we can recommend them to people, which is very helpful, because they said, well, have you had that? And you're like, oh, I have had that. So the salary and job outlook for aesthetic nurses, like I said, this is a growing industry. They're opening new places all the time. Clients are getting younger because they are trying to prevent the signs of aging. So things like preventative Botox, just little tweaks with filler. Everybody loves lips, and just some different, like trying to balance a face. So it's more acceptable now. People talk about it more. People are much more knowledgeable about it, and they seek us out to get these treatments. So it is a booming business. So there are always opportunities available. Salary depends It ranges anywhere from 70 to 90 plus, depending on where you work and the pay structure that you are offered. You know, some places are hourly, some places offer bonuses. It all depends on, you know, how your place of employment does it, but it's pretty lucrative. And then, like I said, and then people come in and they get these treatments done by you, and then they tell their friends, and then they tell their friends, and they tell their friends. So it's ever growing. People are always talking about it. Even if they don't talk about it to their non-friends, or like people who they're not really friends with, they're still talking about it in their circles, and more people are starting to come in. So it's very busy. Some courses that we offer, if anybody's interested, at the Body and Beauty University in Philadelphia, we have a few courses coming up in the fall. October 14th, we have Intro to Injectables, which will be toxins and fillers, and that's taught by me. It has CME credits, and we have live demonstrations, so you get to see a Botox and some filler, and, you know, obviously interactive and questions and everything like that. November 11th, we have a beginner to intermediate filler class with a live demo. And then November 18th, we have a lip filler boot camp. Again, CME credits and a live demo of lips being injected. And then we also have shadowing opportunities. So if anybody's ever interested to come in and see what we do, we have these opportunities. And what they do is they interview you, see what your goals are, where you're located, and they try to match you with one of us injectors who best would meet those needs for you. So it's customized. And you get to come in for a few hours. You can do one day, you can do multiple days, but you get to come in and see what we do. And each day that you come could be a different set of patients. So you're getting to see multiple different procedures and treatments that we do and get a feel for those. And that wraps that up. So are there any questions?